Hi there, it's Nicole teacher from Empire English, and today we are going to talk about the word choice. You might be making a little mistake that many people make, even though you are very good at English. Oftentimes, my video is pointing out something that you might be saying and that you aren't aware of. I highly recommend that you stick around until the end of the video so you can understand all of the points I have to share with you today. And then at the end of the video, I will explain why people make this mistake. I will be breaking this video down into 3 parts. The first part is the mistake, the second part is how to avoid it, and the third part is why you might be making this mistake, or why people make this mistake. So please just pay attention so that you might catch yourself later and you might be a little more aware of it. The sentence that I hear is, I have to choice. And written out for you, it will be obvious. I have to choice. You will say, I know, Nicole teacher, I don't say that. I know that choice is a noun. It's not a verb. So that sentence is like for beginners. But when people become intermediate or advanced, they do pick up things they hear and then kind of mix it up when they are more comfortable speaking. I'll get to that at the end. But just be aware of the fact that you can't say, I have to choice. So how can you avoid it? Well, you should just say, I have to choose or I have to decide. Also, you can say, I have to make a decision. Now, make a decision is usually for more serious decisions in life, like where you're going to live for the rest of your life, or who you're going to spend your life with. For example, I can say, this morning I chose a red shirt. Or I can say, this morning I decided to get a tattoo. I don't have a tattoo. I'm not going to get a tattoo. But that's just an example. So that's not a rule. That is not an English rule. Sometimes teachers explain things that they say are rules, and usually it's just a habit that has formed by native English speakers over time. And I do notice that people tend to use the word decision for more serious decisions. That's more focused on the result after you have decided. Choose is also the same as decide, but choose feels more like when you're in the process, you're in the moment of choosing. So like, which one should I choose? You wouldn't say, which one should I decide? You should say, I have to choose one, or I have to make a choice. Now that's what I will explain later. That is correct. Of course you can say, I have to make a choice, but we will get into that a little later. So just to emphasize that this is not a rule, I will tell you my story about this. I will tell you about some decisions I made yesterday, and you can hear how the words are used naturally by a native English speaker. So yesterday it was raining and I decided to take a bus. Usually I walk to school and I teach because I like to be outdoors, but it was raining, so I decided to take a bus. I decided not to walk. Unfortunately, there was a bus accident and I was injured pretty badly. I had to go to the hospital and my wrist was broken. So I have no choice but to wear this. That's an expression that I would like you to learn. I have no choice. That is when you have no choices, no other options. Now, sometimes it feels like you don't have another option. It feels like you don't have another choice. And you will say, I have no choice. This is very common. People often do that and say, what choice did I have? What choice did I have? Or just, I had no choice. In reality, I could choose not to wear this. I could take this off and I could use my wrist. However, the doctor says that it is necessary to wear this in order to heal properly.
Decisions, decisions.
So, what other decisions did I make yesterday? Well, I was supposed to travel this weekend. I was supposed to take a trip. And I decided that it was not the best idea to be traveling and hiking with a concussion and a broken wrist. Actually, I have pain all over my body and my legs. I have contusions. So I had to make a decision. I had to decide if I was going to travel. And that would not be a good choice. That would be a poor decision. It was an obvious choice to stay home. And I am near my apartment now. I decided to stay local and just go out and get a little fresh air near my house. So I decided not to travel. I can also say I chose not to travel. Now, why do people make this mistake? There are actually a few explanations. One explanation is that they are trying to say, I have to make a choice. Make a choice. I have to make a choice. And if you want to say that, you can say it, it's correct, but it's actually not the most common or natural way to say it anyway. So my advice would be to just stop saying I have to make a choice and again, stick with the options of I have to choose, I have to decide, I have to make a decision. The other explanation that I believe might be causing this problem is because you are hearing people say, I have two choices, or you have two choices. And when you hear something said very often, you pick it up naturally. That is how language is learned, kind of by repeating what you've heard. That's how native English speakers learn English, is that they hear people around them saying things and they figure out the situations when those sentences are used or when those words are used. And you might be hearing, I have two choices. You have two choices. And what those people are saying is, I have two choices, meaning I have two options, or you have two options, or you have two choices. Sometimes people think they only have two choices, but really they do have more options. So to explain this a little better, I am going to take you down to where a path divides. And there really are only two options or two choices. So here we are with two choices, because sometimes we really do have to choose between two options. And in that case, I can say, I have two choices, or you have two choices. And that might be a good thing because you might have two very good options, and it might be a bad thing because you have to choose. You have to choose which path you're going to take. And there is a very famous poem by Robert Frost called The Road Not Taken. And that is because When you take one road, you can't take the other road. There are many interpretations of that poem, but the whole point is that there is a road that cannot be taken. Once you take one path or one road, you can't take the other one. And I will just discuss the negative grammar there. It's I chose not to, or I decided not to. And I want to add that choice can have two meanings. It can be your option and it could be your decision. So that's why when you make a choice, it means to make a decision. But when you have a choice, it means you have an option. So I hope that my explanation today has been very helpful. I hope that I have helped you recognize some things, maybe some mistakes that you're making, and I hope you make all the best choices in your life and continue with your English study. Goodbye from Nicole and Empire English.